I know I was flinching terrible. 2687.
These are your preloaded, right?
Okay, we're going suppressed.
Yeah, and it's rubbery, so it's going to stick to it. It's out now.
I love that.
It's not very loud at all.
Okay guys, we have a Ruger American Go Wild in 308. We're going to, first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the trigger out, and we're going to change this from a 5-pound trigger to a 2-pound trigger. We're going to change the spring in it so that it can accept. We have to pull this out, and you have to use a jig to do it. So after we get that accomplished, we're going to mount an Athlon scope on it. We're going to work up loads with Trail Boss and Varget, because we're going to put this rugged can on the end of it. We need to use Trail Boss to do that. So we're going to have to pull that off and put the adapter on the end. So the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pull the bolt out. So we have 2 screws we have to remove right here, and the second one is hidden behind the magazine release. I'm not a real fan of this release because my other Predator, my Creedmoor, you pushed it back to pop the magazine out. This one here, you have to go forward like that. I can't hold a camera and show you, but the screw is down in there. So we're going to pull these screws out, but before we can do that, we have to drift this roll pin out. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm going to take closed cell foam to use it as an armorer's. Try and get it just there, just right. I'm going to take us a drift punch. Fits it just right. All right, there we go. Now be very careful when you pull your drift punch out. There's a spring in here. It goes just like that. And this is just a roll pin covered in oil. Now to keep from losing everything, I'm going to go ahead and capture it inside this jig. Now when I bought this rifle, it didn't have a jig, so I had to call Ruger, and they promptly sent me one. But I have a big feeling that when I bought it at Academy, okay, it's very hard to push in here, but you're going to push this. You have to push this in here really hard till you seat that down. Okay, it's going to sit like that. So you're going to see this little tiny divot right here. That's where that spring goes. Okay, and you're going to notice there's this little thing that sticks out here. This is what keeps that assembly pin from falling out. Okay, so you're going to take your spring and you're going to lay it in that groove right there like that, and you're going to put your assembly pin just like so. And then when you're going to reassemble it, it's going to slide right in here like so, and what it's going to do, it's going to push this out of the way. This right here is going to push that right there out of the way so you can reassemble it. But I'm getting ahead of myself right now. Okay, there's another little trick to this, and you need to put it in at an angle. It's going to go in at an angle like this, and then you're going to flip it up, And when you do that, it's going to push this out of the way. That right there is going to push it out. So you don't push it straight in. You want to come in here at an angle. Get that groove lined up. Just like that. See that, guys? Okay. For people that are always wanting to give the size of tools, this is a 1/8 inch drift punch. We're going to use a 3/16 Allen 3/16 and a 1/8 drift punch. Guys, a little side note. If you ever notice this little tiny piece of cardboard inside your reloading dies, don't throw it away. That's actually treated with a rust inhibitor. I don't know. That's what it's doing in there. It's not just a piece of scrap cardboard in there. It's actually prevents the rust. What it's been treated with, I don't know. You're supposed to leave it in there. Okay, there are 2 screws that we need to remove. They're in there pretty tight. And that one wasn't as tight. At this point, I'm going to put gloves on because I'm going to end up getting the oil all over my fingers and pulling the glove off. And I'm going to end up pulling the oil off stuff, human oil and salt, which it'll end up rusting if you don't re-oil it. Because we're going to when we go to put this back in, we're going to get us, like the roll pin, I'm going to need to re-oil that. Boy, those are long screws, aren't they? So, the inside of this, we got V-blocks. We got a V-block pillar there, V-block pillar there. And you can see how some of the earlier Rugers that didn't have this honeycomb, and people complained about them, but they've actually made this thicker and stiffened it a lot more. But you can see where that stud's at, you can put another stud right here, which I'll probably end up doing. But there's not enough meat in there like there is here. So you got to put a nut right there for it to grab onto. I don't know why I bought that great big old thing, because it's too big and clunky. This little one seems to work much better. We're going to take this screw out right here, and we're going to take that C-clamp loose right there, and then the whole trigger mechanism will come out and we can change our spring. Boy, that is in there tight. What's up with that? This is where I'm going to put a pair of gloves on, because all this stuff is... So it's just a little C-clip. It's just a little C-clip, but as you can tell, it's all coated in oil, and if you're out in the rain. But anyways, once we remove that, then there's a pin right here. We'll just push it out by hand. Comes right out, and the whole trigger mechanism comes out. So now what we want to get is a paper clip. Yeah. So there's the spring, and as you can tell, it's covered in oil. I have to apologize. The furnace keeps kicking on. 10 degrees outside. So you just put your new spring right in there. I usually use a paper clip for this. It might stay in place. So that spring we're replacing rides against this right here. Make sure you don't strip them. And we're just going to pull it up to it snug. Okay, I know guys are going to laugh at this, but if you got the tools, use them, and if they give you a torque spec, I'm going to use it. I'm going to go back and forth. So I'm torquing it now at, I don't know, about 45. I'm torquing it now about 45. Now we're going to go up to 70, which is half. They say 60 to 80. We're going to split the difference and go with 70. Since this is the final torque, we're going to go back and forth. Yep, just hit the limit there. 70 inch-pounds. All right, now this is the fun part. So you got to be very careful not to, your spring should look like that. We got the slave pin in there, and that is pushed forward. The secret to this is it has to go in at an angle. And once you get everything lined up, it's going to slide right in there. Okay, once you got it in there, be very careful and just slide that off. And there you go. I'm still not. That way. This is what I've had to do to take that muzzle brake off, so I could put my adapter on the end. I mean, I really had to have strap wrenches to put it there. I couldn't hold the camera while I was doing that. I like this quick release on this one. Tighten that collet down. Athlon Argus BTR mill dot scope, second gen. The second gens have zero stop, where the first gens I have, you had to shim the scope. Athlon is Greek for metal, I think. Metal or award. Prize or medal, I believe. I guess that's what they get. Anyways, I'm a big fan of them, and they're mill dot. Do have illuminated. I don't ever use an illuminated reticle, but it does come with scope caps, flip up scope caps, which is sort of neat. For the value, I think they're awesome scopes. I usually buy them off eBay from some dealer somewhere, and usually get a really good price on them. So I like the Lee resizing lube. I don't know if I like this stuff or not. You're supposed to, it's mica or something. I don't know. It seems like it actually makes it harder to, if you need to know how to set your dies up, you can watch my other video. But you're going to you run the ram up, turn this down till it hits it, come up, turn it, I don't know, quarter turn till it cams over, and see, it's almost like that mica stuff makes it harder to. But see, you can see the ring. If it would focus, see the ring where that mica pushed it up? I think that's what it is. I don't know. It's some kind of white dry lubricant. So I throw everything in these little TV dinner trays that I washed. Now we're going to clean them and resize them, and we need to. These are once fired Hornady brass. They weren't fired in my rifle, so we're fully sizing, not just bumping the shoulder back. But we need to clean these primer pockets really good. Okay, to trim my brass, I used one of these. I forget where I bought it from. Just hook it to a DeWalt drill. Sit down, but it's going to throw brass everywhere, but it's real quick. See, that fast. I don't use a regular brass trim anymore. Brass goes everywhere. That fast. One of the reasons I'm a fan of these Rugers hard to do this one-handed, but the bolt is like a 60-degree throw. It's a 3-lug design. I have another rifle that I can't put this scope on because the bolt lever is going to hit it right here. So see I think it's 60-degree throw. That is an issue. My 25-06, I can't run this scope because the lever will actually hit it right here. But it's a two lug design and it goes a lot higher. These are 30mm Leopold rings. Okay, Leopold rings to the receiver are supposed to be 22 inch-pounds. And the furnace is kicking on again. It's like 15 degrees out there now. Alright, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to level this rifle on the Picatinny rail. Once I've got this completely level, once I have that level where I want it, vise it down. Okay, this is the tricky part, and it just happened. If you tighten one side more than the other, you actually will roll your scope, and that just happened to me. Well, you want to go a little bit at a time watching the level, because if, like I said, if you tighten one side more than the other, we're going to start doing a crisscross pattern. All the people that just use an Allen wrench and say, oh, I've always done it this way. Well, how do you know you're perfectly straight? Okay, now we're going to go to 20, 25, I guess. Now we got to set our parallax. Another thing is with your scopes, make sure, see, it happened on this one. I can slide a fingernail in there and I can't slide it on the other side. See, that's what was causing it to roll the scope. All right, build is complete. We need to load us up some ammo. We got 40 Hornady brass, once fired. It's been resized. It's been trimmed. Did the inside, did the outside, cleaned the primer pockets. So we need to seat some primers. We're going to load up some Sub-X's with Trail Boss. And then for Subsonic, we're going to load some 190 grain Sub-X's with Trail Boss. And for Supersonic, we're going to use 168 ELD matches using Varget. I use a hand primer, and I mainly use Winchester WLR primers because I have 1,000 of them. No, I actually got, look at the price on those. You'll never see a price like that before. I think I have some up there for like $2.50 a pack. Okay, our goal is 1,039 feet per second. That's what Hodgson says is the day at the range is totally experimental over a chronograph. We need to make sure that we're not keyholing. So we need to shoot a whole bunch at a high velocity above subsonic. They need to be supersonic to make sure that they're stabilized and not keyholing as we go down. And then as we're going to go down, I'm going to load those, and those. And that's our goal, but this rifle might not like that, you know, primer differences, whatever. So I want to be able to have enough extras to see maybe I need 10.4, maybe I need 10.7, maybe I need 10.6. But first we have to make sure it's not keyholing. So we're going to shoot these and work our way down. I'm not using a electronic scale because electronic scales are plus or minus 0.1 grain, and the little tiny amount I'm going up, the error, I mean, it can be, one drop can be 0.1 grain high and the next one's 0.1 grain low, and that's gonna really throw everything off here. So anyways, this has got to be the weirdest looking powder I've ever dealt with. It's like It's like miniature donuts. It's like oatmeal with a hole in it. Okay, last one. One of the little tricks that I do is as I'm loading these bullets, because they are not marked yet, so I don't know what is what. So as I'm moving them, I'll have some kind of marker here, moving it like that, so I stay on the same row and don't pick the wrong one out of sequence, because you know these are 11.2, these are 10.5, these are 10.7, these are 10.5. These are my target ones I'm hoping work. And I also ran up some 10.4s, and they are seated to an overall length of 2.690. We're going to see how they shoot tomorrow. Okay, now we're going to load the ELD matches with Varget. We're going to load 42, 43, 43.5, and 44. And once again, I'm just using a manual scale because I can actually almost do it faster. I'll just dump it with that. There it goes. And I'm telling you, my electronic scale anyways, that was just as fast. And because, I mean, I'm constantly changing I'd be pushing buttons on the electronic scale. Okay, I'm done for the night. And I write with a Sharpie how many grains of the powder is in here. It comes right off with rubbing alcohol, and this is going to be my ELD loads. Working them up to see, that's what the manual says is pressure is going to be 44. So I got 44, 43.5, 43, 42. There's a lower node right around here somewhere. The upper node's going to be around here, according to Sniper's Hide.
You video on this? John wanted a video.
I know, I was flinching terrible. 2687.
That slid back. Look, see what they saw?
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't keep shooting.
Yeah, that's the fastest one so far. I probably hit that tree over there.
Okay, we're going suppressed.
Yeah, and it's rubbery, so it's going to stick to it. Yeah, I take these off now.
Well, it's not very loud at all.
Have one on the press. Sinus drainage also makes me cough like it too, by the way.
I know it does. You stop everything, it quit. If you slow down that first click or two and laid off everything, it damn near quit.
Yeah, fix them film all the way.
Okay, here's our final results. My best shooting group I'll use for my sighters to sight in this rifle, and all the bullets were touching. Then I come here. So this was 43 grains of Varget, 308, 168 ELD matches. Like I said, the sighters were actually touching, but I put them on a different chart, on a different target, and then because I was expecting it to be the worst of all. Okay, then we went to 43.5 grains of Varget, and look at that. That's just terrible. Then we went to 44, which according to the Hornady manual, that's max. And I noticed with the first shot, it was kicking like a shotgun. The first one felt like a shotgun. I didn't look at my brass, didn't think anything about it. The next round, this is 44 grains of Varget. The next round, I couldn't open my bolt. I'm like, what the heck? I've had sticky bolts, but I've never had one that I could not open the bolt. And I had to, The only way I could get it open was I had to shut the bolt again, and I guess it pushed enough into that brass. But what I wanted to show you was the pattern on the primer. There is a star burst pattern on the primer that I've never seen before. And you can see a little bit of ejector swipe right there. And I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera or not, but there's this starburst pattern. So I'm like, what the heck, let's shoot another one. I had one more and we shot it. Didn't get a stuck bolt, but you can see the ejector swipe right here. See, right here, there's ejector swipe. I don't know, maybe you can see it better there, which is a pressure sign. We're over pressure. Now we can go back and we're going to work up. We're going to go back and we're going to shoot some more 42 to 43 playing through here and get them all to where they're touching. Okay, that is 6 shots right there. I don't know if you can make it out or not, but there's 3 bullet holes right here. I'm aiming right here with the Subsonic. Now I've shot another target with the Sub-X's, got it zeroed in and everything, and started high and worked low. So my first impact, I was aiming here, I had raised the scope 1 mil, and that's where it came up to. Okay, then I went up another mil, so I was hitting there. Went up 3 mils, hitting there. So then here at the end, this is 3.1 mil, and that's what I was getting at Subsonic. So at least I know all I got to do is dial the scope 3 mils up once I get it zeroed. But look at the difference there and there. I usually expect it to go up in powder, and then this one. I mean, anyways, this is interesting. The ELD match bullets, see what they did to the, but look what the Sub-X's did. But I did notice every one of these bullets, when they impacted the ground, these Sub-X's, every one of them, when they impacted the ground, it was blowing out holes out of the ground. It was impressive. And when you went back to recover the target, the holes left in the ground from the Sub-X's were substantial compared to the ELD matches. So guys, comment down below why you think I had the point of impact so far to the right on this when I'm here at 2,700 feet per second, but yet here at 1,000 feet per second, I'm so far to the right. Why is everything to the right? Same way over here. It's all to the right.